Let us be very clear at the outset so there is no bargaining spirit hiding behind our words. This is not a prosperity lesson. This is not an evening for outlining money, fixing circumstances, or persuading God to move faster. We are not here to coax loaves and fishes. We are here to acquaint ourselves with God and be at peace. Acquaint now thyself with him and be at peace. If you came with lists and figures, leave them for the moment on the chair beside you. Let them sit. Do not offer them up as sacrifices. Do not parade them before the altar. Be still and let God be God. Here is the paradox you will have to accept, or you will wander in a circle. Cease seeking outcomes to receive outcomes. Forget supply and demonstrate God. The Master said, "Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added." Added, not chased. Given, not grabbed. The Lord is, that's all. As long as you are seeking things, you are refusing the one. As long as you are outlining the shape, you are denying the grace. Stop. Stop. Let the heart fall silent where it has been clamoring for tokens. I know the universal ache. The bills sit on the table like little judges with stern faces. The due dates whisper at 3 a.m. The mind calculates, retallies, plots, promises, fears. Who by taking thought can add a cubit? Who by crafting a brighter budget can breathe peace into a trembling stomach? Take no thought for your life is not indifference, it is instruction. It is the turning of the face from shadows to the Sunday. The ache is not in the ledger. The ache is in the belief of two powers, God and bill, spirit and balance, grace and deadline. That belief agitates the heart. Some of you are new and will feel the silence as a strange country. You have the disadvantage of habit. The tongue wants to move. The lips want to ask. But you have the advantage of this room. Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there am I in the midst. If there are 10 righteous, 10 who know that God is one, the whole city is helped. You are in a circle of united consciousness. Let it carry you past the noise to the hush. Establish your ground now and refuse to trade it for any promise of form. God is one. Say it within, not as a charm, but as a recognition. God is power. Therefore, there is not another. There is no power in lack, no power in calendar, no power in opinion. I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. We will not outline, and we will not ask for things. Prayer here is receptivity, not request. Presence, not persuasion. Our intent is singular, to realize God. In realize oneness, form follows by grace as a shadow follows a man walking in the sun. Seek the Sunday, forget the shadow, be still, and know. Now let us come closer to those papers on the table, not to argue with them and not to parade them before heaven, but to observe what awakens in us when we see them. Listen to the sound of fear prayer. Father, there are 3 bills due Friday. The rent on the 1st, the grocery account past due, the car insurance threatening cancellation. Please, please, do something. Send money. Open a way. Let the phone not ring. Hold back the hands of the clock. That is not prayer. That is a weather report for a God presumed absent. That is a bulletin to omniscience. We recite figures to the infinite as if the infinite were uninformed. We beg as if presence were distance. We plead as if grace were reluctant. Stop, stop. Be not as the heathen, who think they shall be heard for their much speaking. What is the premise behind such pleading? That numbers can strike, that dates can whip, that money has a private jurisdiction and God must be summoned into its courtroom. There, hidden and hardly questioned, sits the belief in 2 powers, God and lack, spirit and ledger, grace and arithmetic. As long as you entertain that split, the heart is agitated. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. You feel it. The tremor in the stomach, the dryness in the mouth, the mind rehearsing speeches to creditors. These are not proofs of lack. They are proofs of divided premise. Who by taking thought can add a cubit to his stature? Who by taking thought can add $1 to his account? Who by fretting can make one hair white or black or turn one past due notice into paid in full? Who by clutching a calculator can secure a future? Take no thought for your life. The Master did not say this to produce irresponsibility, but to unmask the uselessness of fear-faith. Thought is not power. Anxiety is not power. Numbers are not power. As long as you fear numbers, you are far from the kingdom. As long as you trust numbers, you are far from the kingdom. Numbers neither bless nor curse. They are marks on paper, shadows of transactions, symbols without breath. They cannot accuse you before God, and they cannot justify you before God. God is one. Let us be honest then, not dramatic. Admit the tremor. Whisper it into the light. Lord, I believe. Help thou mine unbelief. Do not decorate it. Do not parade it. Do not build a doctrine around it. See the belief in two powers for what it is, a superstition. Lack has no law. Lack has no mind. Lack has no cause. Lack has no mandate to enter the house of oneness. It is the belief about lack that bangs on the door and rattles your dishes at 3 a.m. Turn from the belief, not by argument, not by brave speeches, but by recognition. God is. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. We are not asking God to conquer lack. That would enthrone lack as a second. We are letting the light reveal that there is no second. In that seeing, fear loosens, the breath lengthens, and the heart begins to know peace. There are always two facets in this work, and unless you distinguish them, you will live on the porch and never enter the house. There is the letter, the statements, the reading, the hearing, the repeating of sacred phrases, and there is the spirit, the actual consciousness of God, present, alive, operative. The letter points. The spirit is, the letter instructs the mind. The spirit dissolves the mind's pretensions. The letter is preparatory. The spirit heals. Honor the letter rightly. Read your Psalms. Sit with the Gospels. Rehearse within your heart, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And seek first the kingdom. Take down your notes if you must and write, God is one. God is supply. God is life. Do this as you would stack kindling, not as if the kindling were fire. The kindling is necessary. It is not sufficient. As long as you imagine that the arrangement of words has power, you are far from the kingdom. Neither mind nor thought can heal. Not a bright thought, not a brave thought, not 100 polished affirmations can purchase peace, not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. Let me press you kindly but firmly. Affirming that God is supply is almost as useless as thinking it if it does not ripen into consciousness. Saying God is my sufficiency, while your stomach knots and your ear waits for the phone to ring, is like telling the sun where to rise. Who by taking thought can open a window for the wind? Who by piling phrases can bid the ocean to be blue? Stop, stop. Don't go on with vain repetitions as if heaven were deaf. Words are scaffolding around a temple whose light cannot be built by syllables. What then is realization? It is a wordless, thoughtless, inner knowing God is. It is the hush in which you discover, not persuade, that I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. It is the instant not manufactured, not scheduled, in which be still and know that I am God ceases to be a verse and becomes a state. You cannot see it, hear it, taste it, touch it, smell it, or think it. It is not an emotion and not the absence of emotion. It is presence recognizing itself at the center of your being. The kingdom of God is within you. The wind bloweth where it will. So is everyone born of the Spirit. In that breath, the ledger loses voice, not by conquest, but by irrelevance. Therefore, set the aim rightly. We are not moving from lesser concepts to greater concepts of supply. We are moving from all concepts to presence as substance. Forget the packet labeled supply and demonstrate God. Make God the only agenda. In realized oneness, form follows by grace as shadow follows substance. Let your tongue rest. Let your teeth meet, and let thought come to an end, not forever, just long enough for the Father to be the Father. My thoughts are not your thoughts. Peace first. In peace, the presence announces itself as sufficiency without your planning, without your pleading. God is, the Lord is, that's all. God is one. Say it within until the heart stops reaching and starts resting. God is one. God is, the Lord is, that's all. Let the mantra be not a sound, but a stance. As long as you hold even a corner of your hope in dollars, in markets, in a job, or in a person's favor, you have set up an altar next to the altar, and the incense chokes you. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Not one. Not a polite second for emergencies. One. Understand me with rigor. Supply is not in dollars. Dollars are tokens that appear and disappear like leaves. Supply is not in employment. A job is a channel that may open or close like a window. Supply is not in markets. Markets lift and sink like tides. Supply is not in persons. Persons smile and frown, come and go, praise and forget. None of these are law, none are cause, none are power. They are shadows thrown by an inner Sunday. When you chase shadows, you grow weary. When you stand in the sun, the shadows arrange themselves. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. You cannot see God, hear God, taste God, touch God, smell God, or think God, and yet God is the only substance. Feel the paradox, and then let it dissolve in the deeper fact. Spirit alone is presence, power, law, life. Matter is appearance, thought is description, spirit is being. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. Bread feeds the body for an hour, word sustains being without measure. Therefore, supply is the realized presence of the one appearing as enoughness, as right place, as right activity, as guidance, as unfolding peace. It is not acquired, it is revealed. It is not budgeted, it is known. My grace is sufficient for thee. Be very clear. The instant you make a thing, your goal, this job, that payment, those figures, you have stepped out of oneness into struggle. You have said, God and this, and written your own unrest. Who by taking thought can push a shadow into form? Who by pleading can persuade the sun to rise sooner? Seek the Sunday. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added by grace, not by grasp. So we practice the holy refusal to lean on reeds. Put not your trust in princes, nor in the Son of Man, in whom there is no help. Do not trust in numbers either, nor in your own devices. Trust the one. Let prayer be receptivity. God is. Rest there until the itch to manage fades, until the heart says, it is enough. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty, liberty from fear of figures, liberty from worship of channels, liberty to watch forms come and go like obedient shadows. God is one. God is. The Lord is. That's all. In that all, nothing is missing. Stop. Stop. Let us end now the nervous habit of informing omniscience. Do not carry your figures into the sanctuary as if God had missed the mail. Do not recite due dates as if heaven were behind on its correspondence. When ye pray, use not vain repetitions as the heathen do, for they think that they shall be heard for their much speaking. Vain repetitions are not only many words, they are any words born of fear, well-dressed pleading, religious weather reports, accounting in sacred tones. Stop. This is repentance, not apology, but turning. Turn from speech sustained by anxiety to silence sustained by presence. Let your tongue fall out before you talk to God. Hold those teeth together. Sit very still. Be still and know that I am God. Let your words be few. Treat this not as a technique, but as reverence. The moment you feel the itch to explain your case, to bargain with the invisible, to outline your acceptable forms, close the mouth of clay and wait. True prayer puts you on the receiving end. Not might, not power, not impressive recital, not the bravest thought you can mint by my spirit, saith the Lord. Harmony comes by grace. Expose the bargain where it hides under piety. If I give this much, will you open that door? If I read this chapter, will you pay that bill? If I hold this thought for 7 minutes, will the creditor forget me? That is not faith. That is fear wearing a rosary. That is not trust. That is trade. Thou shalt have no other gods before me, not even the God of method, not even the God of your own sincerity. When you attempt to purchase the movement of grace with devotions, you enthrone a second power called effort. Be very firm in your understanding of your own inadequacy. I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. Now, the minimalist mantra, the two-word treatment, God is, not God in supply, not God in deadline. God is. Sit down inside those 2 words until the mental weather clears. You will hear the first protest, but what about Friday? Let it pass like a cart in the street. God is. Next comes the accountant within, pen poised to add a clause. Refuse the clause. God is. Remain until the breath lengthens and the center grows quiet. Do not seek a sign. Do not scan the mailbox of the mind. This is not the time to think about God. This is the moment to let God be God. In that silence, something becomes wonderfully unimportant. Your plan, your outcome, your schedule for grace. Not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Liberty from the itch to manage, liberty from the lust to be heard in heaven. Leave your eloquence outside. Enter empty. Let presence announce itself in its own way, at its own pace. Prayer is receptivity, not request. Say within once and then rest. God is. Wait there until the noise thins and the heart knows the turn has been made. Then rise, not with answers, but with assurance. The sun is up, the shadows will take care of themselves. Now comes the crux, the turning that ends the night. Be very firm in your understanding of your own inadequacy, not as humiliation, but as honesty. Say within, without rhetoric, without a brave face, I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. As long as you secretly imagine that your ingenuity, your vigilance, your clever arranging of calls and emails and calendars can save you, you hold the reins of a phantom and wonder why the chariot drags. Who by taking thought can add a cubit? Who by careful scheming can add a law to the universe? Who by faith in a bright thought can open a gate grace alone opens? Faith in a good thought is still faith in thought. Thought is not power. To put confidence in your finest affirmation is to enthrone a shadow and call it sun. Stop, stop. Let the personal manager be dismissed. He has nothing to manage in God. Not my will, but thine be done. Not my plan, not my method, not my timing, not my amount. Father, let me feel thy presence. Thou doest the works. This is not passivity. It is true activity, spirit appearing as right movement without your pushing. Relinquish outcomes, seize outlining channels. Not this person, not that job, not so much by Friday. Lay down the calendar at the altar and walk away from it. Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. Sustain thee in what? In the recognition that God is one and nothing else is power. When you stop drafting blueprints for grace, grace reveals its own architecture. Turn it over deliberately, say within, as you sit very still, let me turn this over now to the Father. My thoughts are not thy thoughts. I will not try to improve thine with mine. I release the picture, the fear, the hope, the schedule. God is. Remain. You may notice a small inner surrender, like a fist unclenching, a knot dissolving without a speech. The burden lifts, not because a bill is paid, but because the doer is gone. My yoke is easy, and my burden is light. Light appears when the false weight falls off the weight of being your own savior. In that relieved quiet, do not reach to test the silence. Do not look out the window of the mind to see whether anything has changed. Let the change be the absence of the manager. Let the prayer remain reception. God is. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Liberty from supervising appearances. Liberty from urgency. Liberty from the fear that if you stop thinking, God will stop acting. The Father worketh hitherto, and I work only as transparency, not as cause. Then, as day follows dawn, movement occurs without strain. A phone rings, a thought presents, a task is taken up, and it is simple, unforced, sufficient. Do not congratulate yourself. Do not trace lines of causation back to your effort. Give thanks and be mute. When the personal doer yields, grace operates effortlessly. God is one. God is. The Lord is. That's all. In that all, nothing is missing. Now we take up the how, not as a technique to get, but as a way to be. Acquaint now thyself with him and be at peace. That is the method and the promise in one breath. Sit down wherever you are. Close the eyes lightly. Let the shoulders fall. Let the breath move of itself until the rhythm slows without your counting. Let the tongue be still. Hold those teeth together. Do not begin to inform omniscience. Do not start a speech. Be still and know that I am God. Now, the two-word treatment, God is, not as a sentence to repeat to exhaustion, but as a door to stand within. God is. Rest there. If a thought comes saying, but what about let it pass as a leaf in a stream? God is. If a feeling rises, do not decorate it, do not chase it. God is. Do not force long sittings, 2 minutes, 3, 5 at the most, often, many times a day. In the morning before the mind picks up its tools. At noon when the day crowds. In the evening as the house quiets. In between tasks. At a red light, at the sink, at the desk. These are not marathons. They are returns. Short returns. Frequent returns. The aim is not a sign. The aim is stillness. Do not reach for an experience. Reach for nothing at all. God is. Peace first. In that peace, presence announces itself in its own way. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Liberty from having to feel something, to believe something. Recognize omniscience. God is intelligence. In him we live and move and have our being. You do not have to manufacture wisdom. You have to stop imposing yours. In the hush, guidance does not argue. It appears as a rightness, a quiet inclination, a next step so natural it needs no fanfare. My sheep hear my voice, not a thunder, not a drama, often a gentle nudge that carries peace in its wake. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Acknowledge him by refusing to steer the ship from the gallery of your fears. Let the one mind be the mind. God is. Now, refuse proof-seeking. Do not peek in the middle of prayer to check the mailbox of the mind. Do not glance at the ledger in the heart to see if anything is moved. Well, who by taking thought can make a prayer work? Who by anxiety can hasten grace? Outcomes are not your business. Obedience is your business. Peace is your business. Be anxious for nothing. Remain where you are placed in God is, and let the Father work hitherto. If restlessness tugs, do not argue with it. Return to the doorway. God is. When the period has ripened, seal it, not with a list, not with a hope, not with a whispered bargain, with gratitude. Thank you not for things, not for paid accounts, not for altered forms. Thank you for thyself as sufficiency. Thank you that thou art, and therefore I rest. Amen, so be it. Rise quietly. Do the next simple thing that presents itself without analysis. If a call is to be made, it will make itself clear without push. If a task is to be done, the hand will find it. Do not trace lines of cause. Do not assign credit. Keep the peace as guard. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Make God the only agenda. Peace first. In peace, presence reveals as sufficiency without your managing it. Forms will follow as shadows follow, sunlight unbidden, accurate enough. God is. Now take the ledger from the drawer. Lay the bills on the table. Do not arrange them like idols. Do not hide them like contraband. Put them where you can see them, and then refuse to bow. They are paper. They are ink. They are figures without breath. They cannot bless you, and they cannot curse you. They have no law, no will, no mind. God is one. God is, the Lord is, that's all. Thou shalt have no other gods before me, no second power, not even a tidy column of numbers. Feel the first flutter of the old habit, the mind itching to total, to project, to invent stories of doom or heroics. Stop, stop, hold those teeth together. Be still and know that I am God. Do not explain yourself to omniscience. Do not apologize to the past or bargain with the future. Sit very quietly, eyes soft upon the page, or closed if you must, and enter the two-word sanctuary. God is. Who by taking thought can make a payment holy? Who by anxiety can hasten grace? Take no thought for your life. Thought is not power. Numbers are not power. God is power. Remain until the figures lose voice. You will notice it. A kind of harmlessness appears. The edges soften. The inner weather clears. The ledger has not changed. You have ceased granting it jurisdiction. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. In that peace, you are not trying to get supply. You are resting in God, where supply is already spirit, already presence, already sufficiency. Let your prayer remain receptivity. Say within once more, if you must, Father, let me feel thy presence. Then be silent. The Father within doeth the works. Now, if movement presents itself, let it be impersonal. A call to make, a note to write, a postponement to request, or wait, do nothing at all today. Do not act because the totals glare. Act because peace moves. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Acknowledgement is not chatter, it is non-reaction. If you call, let the words come without performance. If you write, let the tone be simple. If you wait, let it be waiting in God, not procrastination born of fear. The cause is not the number. The cause is the one. The effect is not a payment. The effect is order revealed. Refuse the narratives that clamor for a leading role. No self-blame. I was careless. I deserve this. No self-crowning. See how spiritually I handle that. Both are masks of the personal doer. I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. Release yesterday's accounting of mistakes or merits. Release tomorrow's boasting of plans or proofs. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Salvation here is the disappearance of a second power, not the sudden flurry of favored outcomes. Look again at the page. It is still paper. You are still in God. The piece remains your credential. If forms shuffle into arrangement, an unexpected credit, a kindly accommodation, an idea that streamlines the month, receive them as shadows, not trophies. If forms do not move today, do not let the heart revoke its rest. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty, liberty to face figures in oneness, to do the next simple thing without strain, to let grace be cause and order be effect. God is one. God is, the Lord is, that's all. In that all, you rise from the table quietly, not to chase supply, but to walk in peace, while right action, like sunlight, reveals its path. Let us widen the circle now, for this life is not a private enterprise. Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there am I in the midst of them. Not 2 or 3 anxious minds gathering to pool their worries, but 2 or 3 quiet hearts gathering to witness one. United realization is not arithmetic, it is leaven. A little leaven leavens the whole lump. When even a few cease believing in 2 powers, the neighborhood feels a softening. The air itself seems less hurried. The clerk at the counter smiles without calculation. The tone in homes lowers from strain to steadiness. Why? Because presence recognized as one is not a possession, it is a radiance. Depersonalize the channel. People are not sources, God is. Persons, occupations, contracts, customers are avenues through which impersonal grace may flow and through which it may cease to flow without loss to you. Put not your trust in princes, nor in the Son of Man, in whom there is no help. Do not enthrone the employer, the client, the donor, the spouse. Do not entreat them as gods or resent them as thieves. See them as fellow members of one life. We, being many, are one body. The life is the source. The members are transparency. When the form of a channel changes, the ocean has not diminished. God is one. God is, the Lord is, that's all. Understand giving under this light. Giving is not bartered to purchase favor from a reluctant heaven. Freely ye have received, freely give. Give, and it shall be given unto you is not a vending machine verse. It is the description of overflow. When enoughness is realized as God, it spills time, attention, resources, blessing without a ledger in the heart. Let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth. Let no horn be blown before you. Keep it impersonal. The Father within doeth the works, appearing as a check written, a meal cooked, an introduction made. You did not start the river. Do not claim the delta. Now, see how this united consciousness touches the city. If there be 10 righteous 10 who know, one shall not a district be spared the fever of fear. You have read it of old. You have heard, ye are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hid. Light does not argue with darkness. It appears, and darkness yields. As a few refuse to bow to the idol of lack, commerce quiets its appetite, offices lose some edge of panic, decisions broaden to mercy. Markets will still rise and fall, but the heart of the people is steadied. A bill is not a threat. It is an occasion for wisdom. A need is not a verdict. It is a space where grace may show itself as order. He maketh his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sendeth rain on the just and on the unjust. Impersonal. Guard the heart here. Being a channel is not a crown to wear. What hast thou that thou didst not receive? I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. Take no pride in being used, for the pipe does not boast of the water. Take no fear in being used, for the pipe is not depleted by the flow. Resist the impulse to seize a private stash and guard it with a sword of worry. Lay not up for yourselves treasures on earth, but lay up treasures in heaven. In heaven, consciousness of one's supply is security because it is God, not goods. So we stand together in this. Supply is impersonal grace moving through oneness, not mine, not yours, not theirs, God's. Where two or three rest in that name, the name above every name, signs follow as shadows follow sunlight. Do not chase the shadows. Unite in the Sunday God is one. God is, the Lord is. That's all. In that all, nothing is missing. When oneness is realized, form follows as shadow follows substance. You do not chase a shadow, and you do not engineer a sunrise. You abide, and the day appears. Abide in me, said the Master, and ye shall bear much fruit. Fruit is not a proof to show. It is a ripening that occurs by life within the vine. Signs come in their own ways. An unexpected credit posted without your prompting. A timely call you did not script. A quiet idea that simplifies the month. A door that was shut yesterday easing open today. Sometimes it is a letter arriving the day before a deadline. Sometimes it is a debt forgiven without spectacle. Sometimes it is strength and clarity to do in 2 hours what your strain could not do in 2 weeks. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me. Follow, do you hear the order? Do not outline the itch to dictate the channel. The amount, the date, is the old worship of a second power. A wicked and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign. Seek not the sign, seek the source. Stand in the sun and let the shadows place themselves. Who by taking thought can arrange the choreography of grace? Who by drafting a plan for God can improve omniscience? God is one. God is, the Lord is, that's all. Remain there. Forms will cue themselves like obedient shadows at your heels. Be exact in gratitude. Thank the presence, not the package. Bow to the giver, not the gift. Every good and perfect gift is from above. When a check arrives, whisper within, Father, I thank thee, and let it rest there. Do not crown the messenger. Cease ye from man, whose breath is in his nostrils. If a channel closes tomorrow, the river has not lessened. The source is the same. God is one. Keep the law of daily manna. Today's sign is not tomorrow's peace. Do not hoard yesterday's wonder as if it were substance. Give us this day our daily bread. Peace is fresh. Realization is present tense. Morning by morning, return to the door. God is. Do not measure today's prayer by last week's outcome. The kingdom is not a memory, it is presence. Guard humility. Do not rush to teach a technique because a door opened after a quiet hour. Do not say, I held this thought 7 minutes and the payment came. That is barter dressed in testimony. If you must speak, testify to oneness. God is. The Father within doeth the works. Magnify the Lord, not your method. Not unto us, O Lord, not unto us, but unto thy name give glory. So rest and watch. Forms will come and go, calls, credits, ideas, openings like weather under a steadfast sky. Your business is not the weather. Your business is the sky. God is one. God is, the Lord is, that's all. Abide there, and the signs will follow without being sought, as surely as a shadow follows the one who walks in the Sunday. Now we make it plain and very simple. Set a rhythm and keep it. Morning, before the world wakes in you, sit down and be still. 5 minutes if that is all you have, 2 if that is all you can bear. Be still and know that I am God. Let this be the first act, not to get a day, but to acknowledge the day that already is. Say within once, and then let it open into silence. God is. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Then close the book of words and sit. Evening, before the lamps are put out in the senses, sit again. The same stillness, the same refusal to bargain, the same surrender of the personal doer. God is one. God is, the Lord is, that's all. Between morning and night, make frequent returns. Stop in doorways, at a sink, between calls. Let the breath lengthen. Hold those teeth together. Do not think God. Do not inform omniscience. 2, 3, 5 times an hour, when it occurs to you, short, honest pauses in which you step back from the stage and let the light be the light. These are not efforts to change form. These are acknowledgments of one. As long as you think the pause is a lever to move events, you are far from the kingdom. Let it be reverence. Let it be trust. God is. Now the prohibitions that free, stop vain repetitions, stop, end the nervous recitals, end the moral bookkeeping, end the bargains. If I pray thus, will you do that? End the proofs peaking in mid-prayer to measure progress. When ye pray, use not vain repetitions. Take no thought. This is the lifelong unlearning. Each time the urge to manage rises, confess your inadequacy and rejoice that you can. I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. That confession is not defeat. It is the door. Step through and be still. Have courage to doubt and stay. If faith wobbles, admit it. Say within, I do not feel it today. Then sit anyway. Do not dress the doubt. Do not argue with it. Lay it on the altar. Silence will teach you anew. Lord, I believe. Help thou mine unbelief. Acquaint now thyself with him, and be at peace. The letter will not save you here. The Spirit will. Your honesty is the opening through which grace enters without drama. Use anchor statements as doors, not decorations. The Lord is my shepherd. Be still and know that I am God. Not many, just enough to quiet the mind and escort you into wordless knowing. Then drop the anchors and float on the sea they reveal. Remain until you feel the inner weather clear, even slightly. Rise quietly. Do the next simple thing. Make God the only agenda, not results, not reputation, not safety. God is. Bring this to conscious realization every day for a long while and then longer. As realization deepens, supply is never missing, not because you have mastered a method, but because in oneness nothing is absent. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Liberty from fear of lack, liberty from the tyranny of channels, liberty to love without calculation. Walk in that liberty. Let signs follow as shadows. Keep the practice. Keep the peace. God is one. God is, the Lord is, that's all. In that all, nothing is missing.